I've got stuff here at work, I just wasn't even thinking of him having time off, so.
You spent time with Julia then?
Yeah, she's doing a lot better, so.
Hey, Beth.
Hello.
Yay.
Go over this way, where I can sit next to you.
Yeah, Steve, I'd like to see you, Pat.
We were drawing
short straws to see who would.
Well, we have a,
We got a core, I guess Kevin's on,
okay,
yeah, Kevin is on Zoom, so.
so we're all good.
We gotta keep it four-square going.
Yeah. Hollywood
Yeah,
Square.
He looks so excited too.
And just as a reminder, it is like the dance here, so they can't really hear us right now.
We're mocking them. We don't mean to, really. Well,
You don't have an extra.
well, we shall share.
Okay, that works for me. I appreciate that.
Call it to order. Yeah, we can share.
All right, it is now 8:31, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Oh, thank you. All right, we'll start over again. It is now 8:31, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. I need to have the certification of the open meeting law requirements.
They have been met by posting a notification.
All right, I need the approval for adopting of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion for second.
Is there a second?
Is there a second? Kevin, you there?
You can make the second.
Can I make, okay,
Yeah.
I'll make the second to the adoption of the agenda.
All those in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing, or, what's the other one? Any
Any
opposed?
opposed?
Thank you, sir. Any opposed? Okay, same sign, no opposed. All right. First of all, adoption of the December 22nd, 22 meeting minutes.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'm going to second that motion.
Well, Kevin is here.
Oh, Kevin is here. He's back. Hey, Kevin.
He's,
Well,
At
I'm
this
gonna
point, we're
second-
not hearing you, Kevin, just so you
Yes.
know.
go ahead.
All right. First, we're going to go to number 5.
Well, you didn't have, all those in favor.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. No opposed? Let's go to number 5, reports. The digital media update.
So it's been a little bit since we've met last. We have the on-air lights are now installed and functioning behind me. It's kind of a nice touch to the county boardroom, and it allows people to know when we're live. We also have one in the hallway too, if you noticed. So they're red when they're on, and then if they're off, there's no color. So I think they're pretty good, and they kind of get people's attention, hopefully, and hopefully everyone's pleased with where they're at and they can see them. So we just submitted about a month ago 10 videos to the Best of the Midwest Media Fest, and we'll be getting our results back soon if we win any awards for our state organization. It also includes the entire Midwest for all our community media channels. I recently helped out the Sheriff's Department in helping redact some personal information that was on an open records request video. The Youth Conservation Speaking Contest and winner video was in here. We did the contest, and then we had the winner come in studio, and that was with land management. Plus, we're probably going to keep working with them on future videos. Mary and Nancy recently did the ice fishing contest in Independence, and that went over really well. We're working with ADRC and helping them promote their department. We've done episodes on medication and different things like that. We've got upcoming shows every month we're working on, so excited to be working with them. We're trying to partner with Into the Outdoors and Discover Wisconsin to get them on our channel. Having a little bit of difficulty getting them on board. It sounds like they have the okay to send us episodes to run on our channel, but haven't received them yet, so I'm just kind of waiting on them to get those episodes so we can add to our programming. Working with HR as well on job postings and listings. They want to come in and just do some informational videos on some of the openings that they have or they potentially will have, and maybe even like a promotional video on why people should work for Trempealeau County. Working with organizations in Galesville, I've talked to the Chamber of Commerce there, and they want to let us know about events that are going on in Galesville. I was recently at the Old Main this past weekend and recorded an event. So yeah, trying to get down to that southern end of the county a little bit more. And finally, we're just working with the Personnel Committee a little bit and Doc Sasha on expanding media coverage. I don't know if you've been watching the personnel meetings, but we've been working on that a little bit for the past few months. So other than that, that's all I have for an update.
Thank you. Can you elaborate a little bit about what the intent or idea is behind expanding coverage and where that is right now?
Yeah, so they want kind of us to almost try to record as many meetings as we can, if not every meeting. So they're working on getting some of the departments to come in here for the meetings instead of having them at their own facilities like the highway department and the health board and all that. So and they're trying to get them to work around our schedules a little bit more too, and also kind of expand. I'll probably be doing an extra meeting here and there at night. But yeah, we're trying to get just a little bit more transparency, I guess, to the people. So.
Thank you. All of that's going to be accomplished without any changes to personnel, hours, FTEs.
Correct. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks.
Now, let me ask you, has the county fair ever reached out to you for support when it comes to that? Because they're going to do some upgrades and stuff at the fair. I don't know if they've.
No, I don't think they've reached out. They haven't reached out to me yet. We usually cover the county fair every year, whether it's like the real popular one's the demolition derby, and we kind of usually do like a walkthrough through the fair. We typically try to get some of the events that are in that little stand, the main building, every year as well. But yeah, I wasn't aware that they were making some construction updates, and yeah, if they want to come in and maybe talk about some of their updates and maybe we could get some pictures or something like that
I'll
about
talk
what
to
they've
them
been
about
working
it.
on. So yeah, if you want to send me some information,
Yeah, I will do that, because they're like an $80,000 or $100,000, I believe,
interesting.
in updates for the fair, yeah.
Wow,
So trying to get it to bigger and better.
awesome,
So I'll definitely have them talk to you.
great.
Perfect. All right, any other questions? All right, I think we need to go over to the museum update.
I have a message from Nancy Bergman, and she can't attend. She is oh so sad to be visiting her son in Florida just as the big snowstorm comes in. No, I just added. She is in Florida. She recently received the bill for the website for TrempealeauCountyHistory.org, and the Historical Society paid it, so she'll be bringing the receipt to Paul's office as the county reimburses them. And she hopes to be at our next meeting.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right, we're going to move to 5C, educator reports.
And
Who wanna start?
Jake, why don't we have you start?
Perfect. How are you guys doing today? So I had multiple aspects of my job. So we'll first start with statewide. So for December and January, I participated in the All Colleague Exchange. We all went down to Madison. We learned a bunch of things. Particularly with programming wise, like so one thing I learned about high impact programming. So programming for about 15 minutes, doing about a 5-minute rest or activity, and then programming again. So really getting in there with your activities and learning to program for all types of audience. So I say that with a relief tone, but we did really learn a lot. And so continuing from that, I participated in the cohort onboard training in Stevens Point. So that's continuing to get me on board up to Madison standards. And so that's about a year-long process. I have about 3 more months left until I'm done with that. So I'm continuing to work with the Ask a Garden forum, so where I do diagnostic and outreach services. So I haven't received any from outside of the 2 counties, but I still do diagnostic service for both of the counties right now. And then I've been continuing my progress on my plan of work. So my plan of work is due in July, and my plan of work really concentrates on how I'm going to program and where and how I'm going to distribute my time. And so I'm really concentrating on youth education, underserved audiences, and industry collaboration. So working to get those farms to build bigger and better, and then working with youth via collaboration with Adam, Andrea, and then in Jackson County, Carla as well. And then as well as underserved audiences, we've been working with the Occupational Rehab Center and some other less served places to really get out there and provide horticulture to the whole county. And then so for regional, we collaborated with Steve and Caitlin as part of a multi-county educator for direct marketing series. And then in January, we held our first meeting. So the participation was low, and we presented. I'm going to continue to present this information since it was so low at the local farmers markets for Whitehall, Osseo, and Black River Falls to really capture that audience because this presentation is much needed. And so that presentation was with me, Mark Lieben, and Bridget Peck. Mark Lieben is in general licensing information, and Bridget Peck is in fruit and vegetable inspection. So these people are basically the statewide experts on these 2 topics, and getting them here to speak to them is very important to me. So in Jackson, you can kind of see that I've just been doing a collaborative effort with health and well-being. And so I'm continuing to do that. We will do some outreach to like Mill Men coming up here in a little bit, even though Mindoro's right there, or I think that's in Jackson County. And then for Trempealeau County, I've been doing a lot of organizing and planning various outreach activity. So I'm planning, we have the summer reading series coming up here for Whitehall, Arcadia, and the Osseo libraries. As well, I've been collaborating. We're going to do the Ettrick and Trempealeau City Environmental Days, as well as continue a diagnostic series, hopefully at the library in mid-May, where the university diagnostician comes up and talks about very important, local issues, and basically connects the pipeline of Madison to here. And so that's what I've been working on in the 2 months that you haven't seen me, and I know it's a lot. So, any questions?
No, I think we're good. You summed it
Okay.
up for us.
Okay.
Adam, why don't you go ahead?
Sure thing. So Adam Trenzo, youth and families. So it's kind of the 2 roles that I play. Do you all have a sheet for me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is in collaboration with Monica, we're running a Juntos program. So Juntos means together in Spanish, and it's primarily for academic success, so making sure that newcomers and current community members graduate high school. It's such a huge kind of financial issue if they don't graduate for the whole community, so getting them to graduate puts them on the right track, brings money back into the community, stuff like that. And then exploring their options afterwards, whether that's military, tech school, apprenticeships, different things like that, just seeing where they can go and exploring their opportunities. And that's involving the family and the youth, so it's kind of a unique situation where a lot of times you focus on just trying to talk to the parents or just trying to talk to the kids. So this is getting both of them in the same room and having those conversations. Along with that, kind of the goal is to have a new 4-H club in the county through that program. So that, they can help out with all other countywide things, and just kind of a new club would just enrich the program in a lot of different ways. So that's kind of the end goal that we'd be aiming for the summer. Other than that, a lot of STEM education programs. So Whitehall after school, Whitehall 4th grade, Whitehall 3rd grade. Because the STEM program has been so established for so long, I'll just get kind of random teachers emailing me, be like, hey, we're getting this new STEM curriculum and we are lost. Like, we need help. We've got these new standards. Can you help us? And it's almost an immediate, like, here's the 100 things that we could do. I meet with them, we talk through it. We have a whole lending library upstairs of prisms to tuning forks to, air rockets that they can use and borrow for free. So it's a great resource for folks, whereas they might be Googling things off of, people's blogs. This gives them a chance to kind of have that good experiential, hands-on, proven science projects. So that's kind of nice. I'll be doing one this afternoon at Whitehall. So the Arcadia after-school program. So been working with them, and specifically over the years, we've been helping a lot with their grant writing process. So the Whitehall and Arcadia after-school programs are run through what's called a CLC, so 21st Century Learning Grant. And it's a very big grant, and they wouldn't be able to run them without these grants. And they've reached out to me, along with Independence when they've applied, for some letters of support and to review their documents and to kind of help bolster their chances of getting those grants. So Whitehall and Arcadia have been able to maintain them over the years. And one of the key things about those is strong community partnerships. And when I look through those, it's like us and then maybe Gunderson, or like us and maybe like a local another local organization. So it's not a lot. So it's having an extension there is a key piece for them to maintain those grants. And then planning summer science camp. It's always kind of a big program, but we've set some dates and we're starting. We already have our first 3 kids signed up, even though the signups don't start until like May. So, and I had people emailing me in January being like, when is this? When can it happen? Like, we're excited. So it kind of just shows how an established program can kind of build that rapport over years. And then similar to what Jacob was saying, the environmental education. So I will also be there for the Ettrick and the Trempealeau environmental days. Really neat kind of homegrown projects that they've done in those communities, and they're fantastic. They bring in people from all over the region, and their kids get a really great education into kind of local stewardship, local connections, what the land means to people, different things like that. So it's been very helpful. And this year, from some of the coordinators, they're like, hey, we really need some help, or else this program might end, because some of the people who've been coordinating for years, they're leaving. And so they really want to make sure that they make a big mark this year, which involves, bringing Jacob in and myself in to try to impress upon their successors to keep doing this. And then the other thing is lending STEM education resources. It's picked up now that teachers have kind of gotten their feet under them, and they're kind of starting to engage in new materials. They're not in kind of emergency mode anymore. So I get kits kind of distributed throughout school districts around the county that they can keep for 2 to 6 weeks, anything from Lego robotics to prisms to anything. So it's been kind of upticking a lot in popularity. So that's the youth side of things. Any questions, comments before we get into the family education?
I got John Seisha. We had a board meeting, and I don't know if he's talked to you about this or not, with the educators when it comes to family and kids. He's really going to focus hard, and I kind of want to be a part of that too, but on the kids and schools right now.
Truancy,
so truancies, why they're not going back to school, the reasons why kids ain't going back to school, the reasons why parents don't want the kids in school. There's a lot of different things going on after the COVID deal, and how things are changing in schools.
Yeah.
And he really wants to focus on that pretty hard this year and moving forward. So it'd be something I believe educators, would just be huge when it comes to working with John on this. So, I just recommend you talking to John, all the educators when it comes to the family, because he's in for doing something good about it too. So I think he'd be a great asset to reach out to as a district attorney. So
yeah, it's fun. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's
It's funny you say that, because I kind of administer or kind of coordinate the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. So that is the DA, the judge, the sheriff, the victims' witness advocates, all of those people. And that's actually what we decided to focus on this year writ large. So it's something that these meetings I facilitate every 2 months, and the goal is to bring everybody who's involved with the criminal justice system together to discuss big topics that the DA alone can't affect all of truancy, right?
right.
But if you have the judge in there, if you bring in school districts, and we have this bigger conversation around it, then you can have that meaningful connection and meaningful change and kind of big policy stuff. So it's absolutely on our agendas and moving forward. And one of the things Extension can do in that role is I've been coordinating the Alliance for Youth for a long time, and that's a lot of school counselors, so the people who know that stuff, and they've been beating that drum for a long time. And so connecting them with these justice system policymakers to see how they can work together. So that's kind of a big role that I've been playing and will be playing moving forward, as we say.
That'd be great. Contact me. Love to be part of that.
Absolutely.
I really would.
I know that every, Deb Sukla said that she was a part of, it's mandated by law that every, I think, 4 years, the county seat superintendent, so that would be up here at Bigley at Whitehall School District, has to convene all the school districts to have a conversation around truancy. So they had that recently, and as part of our CJCC meeting, Deb Sukla said that she was going to work to talk to Bigley to reconvene that group again regularly now, because it is like a current topic. So it's not just something that has to have a check mark every 4 years.
Right. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So going into the family education, I'll be setting up a Dad and Me program in Independence Head Start. We did one in Blair Taylor in the fall, and it's part of their mandate of how they serve and what they serve is they have to have a certain number of family outreach events. Some of them focused specifically on fathers or male family members. So they reach out to me for those, and I'm very happy to do it. It's one of the more meaningful conversations that I have in a given year. 30, 40 dads in one room. And it's very much not like this is how you parent. It's having a conversation between dads. I think that in all of the research that we've done in talking to dads, it's connecting dads with each other is so much more powerful than a PowerPoint or a book or something like that. Because dads often are on an island. Like there aren't dad groups out there like you might see for moms. And there's that kind of social network isn't kind of a regular thing. So I really enjoy those conversations. Along with that, teaching a whole bevy of skills through the jail and then through these diversion agreement meetings. One thing that's come up recently is job placement. So there's a rule that where like they could get out of jail on electronic monitoring if they qualify for all the things, if they've got a job. The problem is, how do you find a job when you're in a jail, right? You can't go to the interviews.
Right.
You can barely call. There's like a prompt that says you're receiving a call from the jail, which most employers might shy away from.
Yep.
And so it's addressing a lot of those stigmas that we don't normally think about. It'd be like, think about if you were trying to find a job in Jackson, Mississippi, but you were locked in your bathroom without your phone. And you could yell to somebody on the outside of the door to call people for you. That's kind of what it's like to try to find a job here if you don't know people. And so I've been working with several people and several local high employers to just bring it up with them. These HR specialists maybe haven't thought necessarily about the jail as a location, or maybe they thought about it, but it's it's a little bit touchy enough that they say,
Right.
I'm not going to touch that unless I know more. And Extension, hi. Yeah.
Yeah, come on over here.
Be cozy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd like to stay away from those guys. They're pretty scary.
Smart man. Morning.
Oh, morning.
And so working with those employers to say, hey, do you have a paper application? And most of them are like, no. We go through a third party that you have to sign up with your email in order to see what the jobs are. And stuff like that. So trying to break down those barriers for local folks to make sure they can get a job. And we've got people, they've been plant managers or supervisors. They've got very in-demand skills. They just don't have a phone or an email. And so working with the sheriff's office to try to make policy work for the people of Trempealeau County, because they say, oh, well, if they've got a job, great. It's like, that sounds great on paper, but in practice, it's, Extension bridges that gap to try to make it a reality.
I was noticing in the, either Sheriff Simonson's or the district attorney's report yesterday, that the amount of people in the jail who get out on Huber is very, very low. I was going to ask a question about that yesterday, but I in the end didn't. And I just wondered if that was related to COVID or if it's really related to the fact that the people currently in jail simply don't have a job. Do you happen to know?
I only see the little part that I kind of have access to, so I would put that to the sheriff. Because I'm not sure what the inner workings of the policy is. I just see what people come to me and say, hey, I could get out. I need to find a job. How can you help me? So that's the amount of policy that I know.
Sure, fair. Thank you.
And then working with the new diversion coordinator, so Megan Peterson took over for Wayne Apichka recently, and so helping with the transition there by being a regular partner. So I met with her last week and just kind of talked through how we can normally work, what sort of interventions I can offer. But then I also went with them to a conference a while ago, and so just sharing what I learned to kind of have that continuity between diversion coordinators. I recently did and have been doing a virtual Focus on Fathers evening program, so Thursday evenings, having a virtual statewide program. Last Thursday, we focused on building up kids' self-esteem. So hearing from fathers who are on the Zoom and people on the Zoom, what do you do to build them up? How do you build them up? Different things like that.
You get a lot of participation in that?
We get a lot of participation, not a lot of dads. And I think that what that establishes is we need to really rethink the idea of like just putting Zooms out there. It's not reaching dads.
Right.
And so it's not going to be changing the color of your outreach materials, and it's not going to be tacking on fathers to the end of a normal education program. It's going to be doing the hard, long work of establishing peer groups, finding local people who are willing to kind of work with other dads who they can, identify with and respect. So, but it's the first step.
Right.
And then, again, talking about lending out parenting and literacy kits through local libraries. It's been a long-running one, but I haven't really put it on here much. So it's like potty training, first doctor visit, being a new sibling, traveling for the first time. So it's kits that people can check out that has a few books, but also has some toys in it about like a plane or a stethoscope or different things like that for them to learn. Then various building capacity things for the various alliances around. Osseo Fairchild is having mental health night, so helping with that. Ettrick Environmental Day program, we were able to fund them through grants that we raised through the Alliance for Youth, as well as starting up an Arcadia Middle School food pantry and helping them to buy cabinets to store their materials. Helping out the NAMI group, we're able to save about $700 a year by reincorporating with Vernon and La Crosse counties, so we're in the process of doing that and having more local sports. Before we were supported by state folks who are further away. And then the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Andy, we kind of talked about that, about setting priorities, doing things like that. So, and then you see some state leadership positions. Okay. So I know that was kind of long, I apologize, so.
No,
that
I
was-
love the information, to be honest with you.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what's happening on the local level for the resilient and trauma-informed care?
Yes, that's a group that meets every other month. And the core thing that we're trying to do with that group is to find local champions, is the term, but it's local people within organizations that are just willing to either bring it up at a staff meeting or bring it up at their local Lions Club or a church meeting to share like a little, whether it's like a one-pager about like the fact that trauma can affect people later in life from when they were kids, and changing that conversation from like, oh, that person's just kind of like that, but like what, instead of like, why are you like that, to like, what happened to you to have you be in this situation?
I just asked specifically because it is a very big focus in healthcare also,
Absolutely.
and wondered if there is any opportunity for collaboration in that regard.
Yeah, so the leadership is myself, the Gunderson community social worker. So that's kind of in the healthcare area, and we have other healthcare folks in there, and then the health department as well. So we're kind of the three leaders of it, and then we bring in, folks from mental health coordinators, anywhere from, I think it's St. Clair's Mission down in La Crosse, who works with Latinos in the Arcadia area. And that whole group meets, we meet every other month virtually, but then twice a year, so it'll be in May, we meet, I think we're meeting in the Trempealeau room, but it's trying to get as many people who are seeking resources and have resources specifically around trauma, resiliency, mental health into one room and just have a big networking activity. Because you think about like how many times those people get to connect with each other in a meaningful way, and it doesn't happen naturally. Lots of big silos out there, so it's just bringing them all together, and we had people filling out about 8 pages back and front of notes when they were meeting with these people. We kind of did a speed dating where they talked with each person for 5 minutes, and we couldn't get them to stop talking. And so they just have these reams of notes and all these connections where, like, if somebody's in mental health distress at the Whitehall School District, they know, Taylor there knows the person at Gunderson, who knows this healthcare provider here, who knows this state program, and we all know each other. So it's not just calling and praying that that person
Right.
picks up the phone and not knowing if they're going to get good services. You have a strong relationship, and that helps that person move.
Is part of the goal of that committee or group
Yeah.
to further educate others in the community also, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so it's a broad understanding. So the goal is to have everybody in a community understand the impact of ACEs and trauma, and then to understand the basics of building up protective factors and resiliency in folks.
Just to remind people who might not know, ACEs is Adverse Childhood Experiences. So,
Yeah, so there was a long-term study that says asking 10 questions like, did you have a mentor figure when you were growing up? Did you have more than one parent? Was there abuse or neglect in your household? And based on those questions, there were a whole slew of mental health and physical health outcomes, diabetes, high blood pressure, all these sort of things that were not affected by, but there was strong correlation between the two. So letting people know that happened, and to make sure that when you engage with somebody who might be difficult, to understand that it's not that moment right there that popped up. It's that they've maybe been through a whole lot of stuff in the past. Yeah.
Walk in their shoes. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do it.
Yeah.
so.
any other questions for Adam? I'm going to go to Steve next because I have to tell you what's up with Melissa, and I want to tie Monica's presentation with an update on Food-Wise. So, Steve-O?
Well, just a sec. Have you got somebody doing, am I late?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, even though the counter said 9, it's at 8:30.
We'll talk about that.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah,
Sorry about that, Adam. I'm trying to get some things done here. I thought you were just visiting about, so I didn't miss all the 90%. My
we're,
apologies.
we're good.
You're good, you're good, yeah.
Okay, we're back at it here.
Okay, so my winter farmer meeting season is well underway now. And I had Jacob and I worked together on a 3-part series of direct marketing meetings for farmers, farm products. So Jacob spearheaded the fruit and vegetable meeting in January. In early February, we had a direct marketing meeting dealing with meat and animal products at Centerville. I had 6 people attend that, so that's pretty good for that type of meeting and also for this year. It seems like all the other ag agents around here have had low attendance at meetings also. So don't know what that is, maybe a COVID hangover or something like that, I don't know. But we had 6, great meeting. I actually had my wife's niece come up from Shellsburg, Wisconsin in Lafayette County. Her and her family has been doing direct marketing of meat for about 5 years now. So she walked us through the process of how they used to feed like 500 or 600 head of cattle at a time, fattening cattle. Now they're down to where they do like 75 or 80 a year, just what they can direct market, because they weren't making much money at all on just the mass commodity production. And now with the direct marketing, they're able to pay their bills and everything and live a better lifestyle. So that was a great meeting. Also had a grain marketing meeting series in Melrose, Wisconsin. So just the last meeting I had last week, we had 19 attendees. That was fantastic. That meeting usually had between 20 and 30 people attending. The previous one to that, I had 5 people at, so I was pretty down in the dumps on that, and so hopefully we're back up on the upswing. Also, I'm working on a statewide team that's putting on a program called Focus on Forage. So forage being livestock feed, alfalfa, grass, corn silage. I presented at the last one on February 15th about insect management in alfalfa. And we had 75 people logged in from around the state. So that was a great attendance there. So also with that program, the agronomists that work for co-ops and local supply dealerships have a program called Certified Crop Advisor, and they need to have continuing education credits every year. So this Focus on Forage and some other programs that we do virtually statewide provides those credits for those professionals to get certified and stay certified and up to date in the industry. So, and then also along the forage management arena, there will be a forage management meeting March 2nd in Independence in partnership with Western Technical College, and that will also be broadcast virtually to Viroqua Western Tech College campus for farmers through the adult learning program with Western Tech. I will be discussing alfalfa management, basic alfalfa management, and then Kevin Jarek, extension from Outagamie County, will be coming over to talk about alternative forages. So some of the sorghum sudan grasses, some of these cocktail mixes that people are putting in, not only as cover crops, but on some of the marginal land that doesn't grow alfalfa well, some of the wet areas, and maybe they weren't able to get it planted to corn on time for a good corn crop, so they can put in a short season mix and get some cow feed out of it. So on the eastern side of the state, they've got heavier clay soils. Generally, alfalfa is more challenging to grow than it is on our side of the state. So some of the large dairies over there are doing some of these mixes of alternative forages. Then that allows them to apply manure multiple times per year, so they're not just sitting there spring and fall fighting the weather, then trying to get their manure pits responsibly emptied and applied. So I think that will be a real good topic for us to cover here also, because we've got some real light sandy soils that, just don't grow really anything very well. Some of these alternatives could fit. We've also got some of these river and creek bottom fields that, like I said, you might get delayed planting corn and they're too wet for alfalfa. Let's rotate something else in there, break up the weeds and insect cycles. So pesticide applicator testing has been going very slow. They changed how it's done. I have a fear of a train wreck coming here like April. If farmers are not certified, if they're not licensed, they cannot buy a lot of chemicals that they use for crop production. So if you guys know farmers, put the word out to check their card. All of them have a card that's like wallet driver's license sized. There's an expiration date on there. Check that, make sure that they're going to be up to date for the 23 cropping season here, and if they're not, they need to get tested. So
What is the typical certification period? 2 years?
it's 5 years. Yeah, so that's...
So that gap is long enough definitely for them to not be aware of
to
changes.
forget, yeah. So
definitely.
our local offices used to, we would get a list from the state, here's everybody that's expiring this year. We would send a letter out as a courtesy along with the dates that we had set up for training and testing. That stopped this year. So they've got to go online, order a book, and everything changed. So my fear is that they're going to, forget about it.
The chemical people and
Like,
the feed stores must be telling these folks that, but they might come in
And it'll be
then
too
they'll
late.
order
Yeah.
their product and it's too late.
So,
type
so
thing.
you can
Yeah.
order the product, you can pay for the product, but when you come and try to pick it up, I want to apply my products today, tomorrow, well, let's see your card. Oh, that's expired. You can't pick this up. And then their options are severely limited with the amount of weed resistance we have out there. The really good stuff is the restricted use stuff that's going to give us some long residual. There's less resistance to those products. So now they're stuck using these products because they're not certified. Even if they came in today to take the test, it's going to be a minimum of 2 weeks before
That's
they
the
get
next
their
question I was
license.
gonna have.
A minimum of 2 weeks. It could be 6 weeks. So if you're sitting there May 10th, oh, I'm going to go to the co-op and get my stuff, it's July before you got it.
Interesting.
And I know that Steve and other ag educators have been, in their newsletters and their other communications, they've been reminding farmers. But,
That was going to be my next question. Is there a way to get that out on social media as maybe not, maybe some of the farmers don't use social media, but people who know them do and can share that as a concern? And also, would this be something that would be valuable to bring to the Land and Environment Use Committee where they could also help get that word out?
Yeah, you try that, yep.
Well,
So,
is there an option to where they can't pick it up, but somebody who is certified can put it on for them?
oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, is there
Yeah.
an option where they, if they
Right.
just by chance missed it, they had somebody else that could
Yep.
apply it?
So, a typical farm, say father and son, daughter, one of them lapses on their certification. If the other one's certified, they're covered.
Okay.
The thing of it is, if dad always did the spraying, if they're out there spraying and the state inspector drives by and says, oh, and they will do it. They'll stop you in the field and, let me see your card, what are you spraying? It doesn't happen often, but it only needs to happen once, and you're in a world of hurt, so,
Good to know.
yeah. Yep.
That'll be
As-
your job at your store, and everybody comes in.
Yeah,
The farm-
absolutely.
yeah, to
Start
tell 'em.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as getting you on the ELU committee agenda, I don't exactly know how to go about doing
I
that.
can talk to Verge.
I think it would just be
Yeah.
very valuable venue to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also then, so that forage meeting is March 2nd. March 7th, there's a organic farming and grazing meeting coming up in Black River Falls. That's from 11 to 2. I've got a grazing specialist he's stationed at the Marshfield Experimental Station. He's coming over to talk about pasture fertility management and other general pasture management. And then I will take my presentation of basic alfalfa management and delete a few slides so it meets the organic standards and use that at the organic meeting. And then the last of the direct marketing meetings is March 29th in Centerville. And there's a person, Tom Perlick, he farms up by Sorona, up northern Wisconsin, and he has a distillery up there that he runs with his son. They make vodka from wheat that they grow on their farm. He will be coming down to talk about his experiences in setting up that distillery. He's been running that for well over 5 years, somewhere between 5 and 10 years now that he's been running that distillery. So they have an events room up there and everything, and they do quite the business during the summer tourist season up north, so.
Question for you, two questions, I guess. One is, why did the state stop sending that information out? I mean, that's just crazy, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me. This is,
So it's part of the entire reorganization. Throw something at me, Pat, if I go off the rails too far.
all right. Proceed apace.
Okay, so part of the reorganization of ag education here with Extension. They thought it was going to free up our time and make things easier for us to cover multiple counties. So other years I would have 3 pesticide applicator training sessions. The session would have a slideshow at the beginning, that's the training, and then there would be an opportunity for people to take the test. So it would be about a 4 or 5 hour day, and so that was pulled from us. So now I have 6 testing sessions where people can go online, order their book, then go online, do a training, come in and take the test with me. I proctor the exam. So I've had 2 people show up for that locally out of a list of 100 for both counties. There was a training session put on by a man named Glenn Nice. He's at Madison. He's the head of the pesticide applicator training program. He did one in Black River Falls, which was the slideshow and the testing opportunity. There was 23 people that showed up there. Now, if we assume they all came from Jackson and Trempealeau counties, I've still got, 75 people left to test here in, the last 2 sessions here I've got one in February coming up next week, and then 2 in March. So I don't know I think it was a misguided attempt at making things easier, and they made things more complicated.
So did it cost money for them to go to you before, the old way, I guess you'd say, that they have to pay to go to this class?
They still have to pay. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
I
a
thought this
standard fee, $35,
$40.
$40,
Yep.
and that essentially buys them the book and
Yes.
the time to
Yep.
test.
Right.
And then the county educators would get a set amount of money that came back to our, but, I mean, if you remember our budgets, and we always joke about the PAT fund,
Yep.
that's pesticide applicator training. It's got more in it now. And now they want us to have these proctored sessions just to take the test. And if they really mean proctoring, we have to have a staff person on site monitoring. And we get $10?
$10. So
$10
it used to be, it was a little bit loose what a local office could charge for a book. We used to get cases of these books. I think it was $15 per book we had to send back to the state for the cost of the book. And then we would charge, I think, $35 for a book. So $20 would go to the PAT fund, and we would use that pesticide applicator training fund. I would use that for meals and educational materials at meetings. We would share it among the office as long as it was going for educational stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it was for. So now that source of revenue has all but dried up. So the 2 I've tested, I get $20 so far back to our county.
It's very, I suppose I understand the rationale for making the change. I don't think it serves the farmers well. I have had support staff and educators in all of my counties talk about the losing the connection with the farmers. I assure you that it was not any educator's favorite, program of the year to do this, but it gave them at least a regular chance to meet farmers they might not normally meet, chat about over lunch, chat about things. And I'm not sure that there is a complete understanding, and it varies across the state, but it seems the assumption is that every farmer has equal access to broadband, to order the book, to take the class online. They're having to go further for the educational classes. If they go, they can self-study, but you have to score higher if you self-study. And, I mean, broadband is an issue in many parts of rural Wisconsin. And then you start talking about special farm groups, like think about the Amish.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna, trot down to, trot over to their living room and hook up their broadband internet access. So it's been it's been challenging, and there's a lot of conversation about it. But this is what we have right now, and we are trying our very best to get the message out, to help farmers get the certification, the licensing that they need in order to do their job.
Yep.
So, and if you have concerns about it, you may always contact the Ag Institute director directly.
How much?
Did I go off the rails?
No. And if you want the contact information for the Ag Institute director, I can provide that for you, so.
I'm getting support on that right now, I think, right?
What's that?
I feel support on contacting the ag.
Yeah, yes, it does feel like that is
That's good.
an ask. I'm wondering, I guess, at how much control we have over the webpage, since it's a UW-based webpage for the Trempealeau County, for the UW extension.
We can add, yeah, we are supposed
you
to be
manage it.
updating that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought I would jump out there to see how easy it was to find information about this topic, and I'm not finding it.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would typically put out on the
That
website?
would be, I don't know how much traffic the website
I don't either.
gets.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's trackable or not.
We can track hits.
Okay.
We can do more metric evaluation on Facebook. Part of the challenge is having somebody on staff who's comfortable enough keeping
Right.
things updated. So, you're right, it should be better.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally was just out here for 2 minutes, so it maybe is there, it's just not jumping out at me, and
Yeah.
it seems like a big issue, so I'd like it to jump out at me.
Yeah.
And if farmers on the internet?
Yeah, and I don't know, that's true too, I don't know how.
Yeah, a lot of farmers are on the internet, reaching them, I don't know what.
And we can't do anything as our group to say, we're not gonna do it the way they want it, we are still gonna have the, okay.
Yeah,
You
no,
can't,
it's,
okay.
yeah.
Just
It
thought
was, yeah, it was handed down from on
Okay.
high that,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, thou shalt do this.
Okay,
So,
that's the
yeah.
kind of one to
Yeah.
understand. Okay, second question, if you don't mind.
Nope.
Organic. So, situation in my area, a gentleman came to me and I addressed it with people spraying, but he has an organic farm, and they spray that weed control on the sides to keep the weeds down for a longer period of time. And
On the highways?
on the highways.
Oh, okay.
On, the back roads where his land goes up to it, he doesn't want it sprayed. Well, then they said, well, if you contact us in time, then maybe we can do this or do that. It's one of those things where it never used to be that way. The people would come by to the owner and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna spray. No, I'll take care of it, or, I'll mow it, I'll do whatever I have to do because I have an organic farm here and I don't want this by it. Is that anything that you deal with?
That would be dat cap.
Okay,
Well, and they would, that cap, and they would also want to contact their local road person. So if it's a
Yeah.
town road, they need to be contacting their town board
Yeah.
and making a request or working with them. If it's a county road, they need to be talking to the
county.
the county highway department.
and the way it sounds, they did, and they didn't change it, they're still sprayed. So that's what he's concerned about, even though it's organic.
Yeah.
It's, man, I don't need this. It never used to be that way, but now it's like, it's this way.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if he's gone directly to the highway commissioner and to the highway committee, I mean, those are the good first steps to try and negotiate something. And then you make is he in your district?
He is.
He made the right contact,
Right.
and then if his conversations haven't worked, you make the conversations.
I was just on a webinar, it was in Iowa, where a person had these same issues. He had a township road running through his property, and then he was surrounded by conventional farms, and he was dealing with pesticide drift onto his organic land, from all four sides. In Iowa, there's a law that an organic producer has to notify the conventional neighbors that, hey, I'm organic, you need to be aware of drift. And then there was some other stuff that if the conventional producers were negligent and caused drift on, there was some compensation avenues there. But I don't think there's anything like that in Wisconsin. There's a beekeeper's notification, where if you're a beekeeper, you put the word out there, then the conventional producers or people going to be spraying insecticides, how's it worded, should be aware, and then they're liable for killed bees. But I don't know about organic.
Okay.
I'm not sure either, but certainly if he's a member of some kind of producers group, organic producers group,
Yeah.
if he or she contacted them, they should have a good handle on what kinds of protections may be available, because drift in general is not permitted.
No. So if I was a conventional farmer and you were my conventional neighbor and
Yeah.
we drifted herbicides back and forth, that's not permissible. It's against the law.
Okay.
So so the organic producer, I would have him contact his certifying organization,
Okay.
Moses or whatever, and they should be aware of rules and whatnot. And then DATCAP is the authority on any pesticide drift issues. So I'm not supposed to get involved really at all, because it blows up and gets ugly real fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's perfect. That helps me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
If-
Any other questions? If there's no other questions, we'll move forward.
We'll move forward to Monica, who will give us the food-wise update. And in your packets, I know that there's a lot of good information about food-wise. So I'll let you take it over, Monica.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna be quick with this since it's almost the same every month. Our main goal is to keep people informed and showing healthy choices and healthy lives. And from April's report, she's been working with Jackson, and I'm still shadowing her with Whitehall School District, and we base on our lessons in school districts that are having free and reduced meals, and they qualify. So right now I'm like helping with Whitehall, and I have Arcadia School District, and we have taught second grade, kindergarten, and also Independence. And Whitehall, April and I share, since I have to still shadowing her. In Independence, we have taught 2 classrooms, and it's between 11 to 16 kids. Every time we do the lessons, we focus on the 5 food groups. In Whitehall, we had taught 3 classrooms, and Arcadia, we have one of the largest groups in what is kindergarten, with a group of 26 students, which they were bilingual, and teachers had requested this running bilingually. It's been easy for me since I speak 2 languages and I enjoy giving these lessons. I was happy to be there because I can see how students, especially little ones, connect with these lessons. I have here parents said, my kids are requesting more healthy meals at home, eating fruit and vegetables, that was our main goal. They started eating healthy. April has Red Creek Elementary, Black River Fall, and Lincoln Elementary. She has her own group in Independence, of what is it called? It's Parkview Housing in Independence. She's still doing that group. And we still focus and keep lessons. And this month we start with fifth graders, and we're gonna start with 4K as well, Head Start, and she keep connecting with the teachers and manage the schedules and doing the report and make sure. I still waiting for some stuff to get done, like my car for getting the produce and preparing the meals before the lessons. And we have direct educations, which is in person, so I'm happy with that. I don't think April is still doing any online lessons. I think she finished last year. Well, and as in my side, I still, learning about how to present these lessons. I still attending webinars and bilingual educator meetings. So, and since I'm a bilingual, I have to go to different meetings which we learn different ways to teach lessons, since now we had increased a lot of the minority around these areas. We help each other. We make sure the websites have accurate translations. So we're still meeting with that. And I still preparing bilingual lessons with flyers and recipes and all the stuff we need to send packages at home. Make sure we are in communication with parents and teachers. And January month, well, as of right now, we're gonna still teaching in person, presenting these lessons in person. I will be doing Independence, Arcadia, and as well as still shadowing April. She teach me the lessons. I shadow, I observe her, and then I started doing by myself in these two school districts. And I think, I don't know if everyone got the report. There's pictures in the back where both of us take team in some classrooms. And I came up with the idea that since well, I'm around a lot in the community and parents would like to have more hands-on lessons. So we've been preparing like to show more demonstration, get the kids participating in these lessons. So making those connections with visuals and as well physically, participating, making these meals, which I love that part because I can see how kids are engaging with this lesson. So my last lessons, which I love it when I, come up with this idea with the daily lesson, is that how about instead just showing how we're doing it, we let the kids participate, how make their own easy and quick meals. So we make the smoothie and they love it, and my heart gets really happy when I see these little ones making these comments. Oh, when I go home, I'm gonna ask my mom to make this smoothie with this fruit, and I'm gonna be using dairy, and they're using these words like dairy. And it was funny because in my last, well, my one of my lessons, there was grains in Arcadia. So I tried to come up with this idea to dress like the friends from Foodwise, our comic friends. And so I kind of dressed the colors. So they call me Jane Grain. So my name is Jane Grain right now. So it's not Miss Monica anymore because they say, "Oh, she looks brown and your hair is short like Jane Grain." And they were so excited to try new cereals that day. So I'm enjoying my lessons and I'm happy for it.
Awesome.
I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I love hearing your excitement, Monica. It's fun.
Yeah,
I did have
it's
one.
really fun.
Just one question. I see, and this may not be a question specifically for you, Monica, but in general, I see a lot of involvement from Independence and Arcadia and Whitehall. I don't see very much involvement from Blair, Levis-Drum, and some of those other school districts. Can you speak to that?
I can speak to that. That is because the FoodWise program can only work with low-income people. And in the context of schools, the measure is the number of students eligible for free and reduced lunches. They have to hit the 50% mark. So those schools that aren't involved don't have enough students in the free and reduced.
And that's
numbers.
specific to the Food-Wise
That's
program.
specific to Food-Wise. What you'll discover is that over in Black River Falls, Jacob and Carla have been doing some work with the Black River Falls Middle School, which isn't eligible for Food-Wise, but they're going and doing nutrition education and horticulture basics, kind of a food-to-table kind of model, but it does get some of that information out there. But Food-Wise is great. I love it. It's fabulous. It's got rules.
Of course it does. But I guess I would say that I also notice that your youth classes and your family classes also don't seem to reach beyond those few very specific schools. At least that's what I've seen so far. Is there just not as much interest in these other communities, would you say?
I'd say a lot of it's relational. A lot of it's based on where those school districts are. So this last year, a lot of school districts, there was a lot of movement between school districts and a lot of new people. So like a few people left Blair Taylor area, so we have some connections, and so like they're a really strong partner for like 8th grade environmental days, for the Blair Taylor Head Start, different things like that. GET, I do a lot of work at their libraries, but yeah, their school district is kind of a little bit more, and we do like the Adric Environmental Days and Trempealeau Days, but then, you know, at the district level, it also kind of manages what their regular partners are as well. A lot of times they'll
Maybe
partner
they
more.
have other resources.
Yeah, you'll see a lot on the corners of the county, north and south, is that they might engage more with like an Eau Claire or a La Crosse-based, large outdoor education program there that comes up and meets those. So a lot of times when we look at need with an extension, it's that central belt of like Arcadia, Whitehall, Blair Taylor, Independence that has less access to resources that come from the cities.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did need to update, first I'll update you on Melissa. Melissa is on FMLA and should be coming back at least intermittently sooner or later. It's going to depend on what her doctor tells her. So right now, when she can work, she's working from home. So we have her on intermittent and kind of an intermittent remote work agreement. So when she's all better, she'll be back here. And we do have to remind her occasionally, you are on FMLA. You can say no. Andrea is still on FMLA maternity leave. Those of us who are lucky have seen little Grace, the cutie patootie, her little gas bubble. And she'll be back early March, mid-March? March-ish. Cool. So we'll be glad to have her back. One thing I did need to update you on was a change in our Food-Wise program, and it really doesn't impact Trempealeau County so much, but the woman who was both the coordinator and the educator in Buffalo and Pepin County retired. And it took a while, but I'd been in regular communication with the program manager for Food-Wise. And what we ended up doing just a few weeks ago, so Extension can move fast when it's ready to move fast. What we ended up doing was making April Duvall the coordinator for all 4 counties. So she's the Area 9 Food-Wise coordinator. And for those of you who are going, whoa, that's actually how the program started. Years ago in the 90s when it started, it was a 4-county program. And then in spring, early summer, we will go and hire a 50 to 60% educator. We will probably house that educator in Jackson County because they have space. And that person will be taking on more of the actual direct education that April currently does. And April has already made connections and has already done a program or 2 in the Buffalo and Pepin area. So I'm really excited about this. If there's anybody who's got the energy to do it, it's April. We do have to, reminder, balance is a good thing. But that's a change, and it doesn't, it doesn't really impact us. We still have Monica, we have April, we'll have another educator. They are going to have to look at some different options because there is not a school district in Pepin or Buffalo County that meets the 50% or more eligibility for free and reduced lunch. Really. So she'll be doing more work with like Head Start. She'll be doing more work with the food pantries, but how they have been managing things has changed a lot. So they'll probably be doing more high school or adult education. So
this is the way it's gonna be then?
this is the way it's going to be.
Gonna be, okay.
Yes, and like I said, it's the way it was when it first started. We actually still have more FTE, full-time equivalents, than we did back then. They used to have one person manage the whole four-county program with 13% of her time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, but it was different. But we'll still have, you know, the two educators along with coordinator. And it will work out really well. I mean, I have a really good, effective, strong food-wise team, and you will continue to see good delivery and lots of positive response. So that's where we are with that. But I wanted you to know, in case you're like, it doesn't feel quite the same as it used to.
Well,
So-
I think what's nice about it is the idea that there is no 50% in the Pepin area. I mean, that's a positive, and it truly is.
It's a positive.
Negative for us to go, the food-wise to go help, but it's a positive where, you know, people are making a living.
Exactly. And the thing is that, you know, food-wise the goal is to support low-income people where they're at. So it might be a case where, you know, more elderly people are struggling.
Right.
So you've seen an increase in the education that April's been doing in the apartment areas where there's elderly.
Awesome.
Because they
Good.
have lower incomes. So,
And they need help.
yeah, and it
Nothing wrong
changes.
with that.
It
Yeah,
changes over
absolutely.
time, so.
Agreed.
And I can't wait for those senior housing units to get Miss Monica, or is it Jane Grain?
Jane Green now. For now on, my name is
Okay,
Jane Green.
okay. That's okay. That's okay, Monica. They used to call me Pat the what was I? I was the garbage lady. So, yeah.
This is being a food-wise educator is so fun, and like I explained to April, you know, kids like visuals. So if you're dressed like one of the little characters that we have in food-wise, they're more engaging in the lessons, so they more to like learn about it.
Yeah,
And to have a passion. That's good.
exactly.
We're going to set next meeting date.
And remember, we went to every 2 months.
Yes, we did.
That would make it, yes, at 8:30. That would make it an April
8:30?
meeting at 8:30. And I think what it was is I think Tammy sent out 8:30 meeting notices, and it was on at 9 on the, we have to make sure that the communication is well and truly understood. So
Thanks for getting me
8:30.
off the hook.
Yes, you're off the
think
hook.
you did.
You're good.
Good.
You're here now.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I come in here and I bet everybody
we
wondered,
are.
what's this guy doing, huh?
There we are.
I did the exact same thing with either PTED or ELU last this
Okay,
month, too, so.
thanks.
So, April, we are
Normally, what do we normally do, the third week?
is this the third week? Yeah.
So you're saying the 18th or something like, or what are you shooting for, Thursday?
But it's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, so it would
today.
be the tax day, April 18th.
18th then, right?
April 18th, okay? What's that?
We're just wondering what the cat's name is. I was.
Oh,
What's your cat's name, Jacob?
Fish Sticks.
Fish Sticks.
That's
Okay.
Fish Sticks. He's got another one.
Oh, goodness.
4/18 at
8:30.
8:30. And I will get this information to her, to Tammy, as soon as possible.
And how I knew this morning is my phone went off and said, you have a meeting at 8:30. I'm thinking, oh, I thought it was 9. So I'm glad.
I
It was
have
good.
exec finance and property at 8:30, so all three that I am involved with will be 8:30, so.
That'd be perfect.
I should be able to remember that.
Yes,
Okay.
No promises, but I should.
Can I just say one more thing?
absolutely.
I was wondering if Monica would say it or someone else, but Monica and myself and 2 youth from the Arcadia area will actually be traveling to Oregon in March, paid for through grants that we wrote in the past, to attend a national Juntos conference. And so we'll be able to have rural Trempealeau County guiding the next 10 years of the Juntos program for the nation. And
Pretty sweet.
we're able to have our keynote speaker be from Wisconsin, so making sure that Wisconsin is represented and Trempealeau County is represented, and our youth get to go to another college campus. Experience with that is bring it back to our program. And the big part of extension is kind of getting everybody involved, including youth. So youth as leaders there, and then as leaders when they come home, so. Yeah.
It's very, it was one of those permission slips I was overjoyed to sign.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It is super duper awesome. And now you can just
I'm going to adjourn the meeting
at,
at 9:46 a.m.
all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate that a lot.